So, here we are. Map number 2 of the finals. Starbow time. And these two battled out map number 1. Pretty hardcore style. Spawning down in the bottom right hand position as the green Terran player. Representing in CA, it's AniQe. And in the top left hand position as the blue Zerg, currently 1-0 up after playing the first map. Pretty damn awesome. It's coldfront. So, as this all goes, some very exciting things could be about to occur. Maybe some all-in. Just checking something on the Twitch chat there, making sure it's all going safely. Of course, anyone watching from VODs, you missed this live. Could have checked out my Twitch channel. If you are watching on Twitch, make sure you follow this channel because some cool stuff coming up. But yeah, hatch first coming down here. Meanwhile, we see from AniQe a bit of a mix up in the builds, getting down barracks first into a gas rather than the CC first opening that we saw last game. Regenerative mineral field. What on earth is this? What is this madness? I really hope you can mine that. Anyway, other than that, as I get a bit distracted by the interesting things around the map. I have a habit of doing this. I find interesting things on maps, and I like just looking at them. Like these little things, they're awesome. Look at them go. What else is there? I am keeping an eye on the production tab still, just in case anything scary happens. But for the most part, no. A bit disappointed by this map. There's not that much going on. There's some strange bones there. That's quite cool. They look awesome. Nice little bit of lava. But anyway, Tech Lab being added on. So this could be some Reapers. Most likely to be some Reapers. Whether we see the expert Reaper training or not. Elite Reaper training, should I add. We'll wait and see. That really defines whether we're going to see a lot of the cluster bombs being used to try and take out buildings, or whether we're going to be seeing just a little bit of poking and prodding and scouting from those Reapers. Looks like AniQe is going to be taking the natural base now, so just expanding quite nicely. No super rush for a whole ton of Reapers anytime soon, but for the most part this is looking to be fairly standard. Coldfront once more being relatively late on that gas, not rushing it out, starting it a bit later than some other Zergs we've seen this evening so far, but nothing to be hugely worried about. Otherwise, this is all looking fairly standard. And I know I've said that quite a few times, it's because when you do get a standard situation like this, it's really tough to find things to discuss about it. Firebat coming down. Firebat's really strong up against Zerglings. We've also still got the Reaper, just ready to start poking and prodding. Not too much to be scared of. A single Spine Crawler getting inside, that was more likely just to save the drone though, so it gets cancelled immediately after. The Reaper going to try and get some more damage done. A little bit of Reaper harass is always looking good. Otherwise, this is pretty much going to plan for both players. Neither one getting too much thrown out of what they're hoping to achieve from this game. And other than that, I'd say this is exactly where they're wanting to go. Bit of a variation coming down from Coldfront. He's getting down that Hydra den a bit earlier. That gives him a bit more damage, of course. For those of you new to Starbow, Hydras are hatch tech now, not lair tech. And by getting those down, you're just going to be stopping these Reapers from doing too much else. Also getting down the lair super fast though. And by getting that down so early, it means that once more we're probably going to see a very early Mutalisk play coming down from Coldfront, which last game was nice and effective for some harassment. He kept going through. Otherwise, there isn't too much else to talk about for the time being. We've got a couple of extra barracks being added on, stim being done, overcharge being used on these barracks, just increasing the production rate of the barracks as fast as possible. It actually doubles the production speed of barracks and halves 50% increase to starports and factories. Other than that, metabolic boost coming down, and we've got a small little group of Zerglings looking to go and harass, but with 3 Firebats, a Medic and 2 Marines, unlikely to be able to achieve much damage. Cool little ramp here as well. It's really wide, but there's 2 distinct chokes, which makes them a bit more defendable. Just not very easy to wall off. Back at home, the Spire should be getting started as soon as the lair's done. That lair 7 seconds away from completion, so should be up and running fairly soon. We've got barrel stabilizers that increase the range of Marauders and Marines by 1. Makes them just shoot that a little bit further. And we've also got the Lurker Den, so this is quite a big switch up in strategy from Coldfront. Last game, he got that Lurker Den considerably later, but the Spire a lot earlier. By getting down the Lurker Den sooner, he doesn't have to contend with the science vessels and that mobile detection, forcing a lot of sweeper scanners, which, until you get an upgrade for them, do still cost energy from the orbital commands that are limited to only 100 energy. They cost 35, so that's quite substantial. First scan coming down, now trying to take a peek at what's coming. Sees the Lurker Den morphing, but also sees there's 2 additional spine crawlers. Second one just now finished up. The 2 spines going to try and get some damage. The Zerglings attempting to block off this push, but nice little move in now from AniQe. Getting some good damage down. The Firebats not doing that well up against the Queens, but doing very well against the Hydras and Zerglings. One Firebat able to stay alive. The Hydras, of course, will take a lot of damage for them. Firebats can be stimmed too, which makes them do tons of damage. Zerglings coming out, a lot of damage really being done here. Even though not many workers have been killed, the fact that Queen goes down, that's very substantial to lava production. The 2 medics probably going to go down too, and this push shut out. But in terms of overall resources lost, coldfront lost fractionally more, probably going to level out about the same once the medics die. Of course, the Lurker Den is now finished. The first Lurker morphing in. That's going to make things pretty fun. If you put some Lurkers around here, any move out across the map will just get annihilated. And that's definitely not what AniQe would want. Both those medics have now been killed, and that actually means the coldfront still lost a tad more, but overall in gas amount, I think that the gas losses would have been slightly more for AniQe compared to that of coldfront. So that first Lurker was somewhere. He's running back home. So he's decided not to go for this. He's going to run into a group of Marines, which is not what he wants to see. Going to take quite a bit of damage here. Tries to back out, but gets taken down. Not at all what you want. Lurkers are armored, so they don't take much damage from Firebats, but they take a lot of damage from those Marines. Natural base up for both players. We've got a third in construction here for the Terran player 2. He's up now by 10 supply. Third trying to come down here from coldfront, but it would appear that AniQe is going to be able to make his way over to scout that, and I think it's going to be very difficult for coldfront to be able to defend this. Even though there's only 1 medic, the fireback Marines should do a nice job, especially with those reinforcements coming in. This hatchery going to be forced to cancel, and unfortunately coldfront is going to be a little bit behind in terms of those expansion times, at least for the time being. Other than that, not too much going on. We do have a dropship being added in. Now, a dropship isn't the same as a medevac in Heart of the Swarm. It only picks up and drops units. It can't heal. So that's a very big difference compared to, obviously, standard StarCraft 2. 1 Lurker has made its way in. Where was that Lurker? Where even is it? I can't see it. It's hidden somewhere. Wow. Okay, Lurkers can get through here. I did not realize that. This is uber cool. So suddenly this Lurker in the back with an Overlord granting vision is able to deal so much damage to that line. It's already racked up 2 kills, which is really nice. Stopping mining, and of course with 8 minerals return per trip, that's a big increase. Oh, a big decrease in income. We've got a few Marines and a couple of medics coming through there. Just going to take that out. Going to push into the front. 3 Lurkers. We managed to siege up. A sensor scan is going to help grant detection of that coming, and the second one coming to pick off that Lurker at the back. The 1 lone tank dealing some nice damage. Lurkers siege up by the only exit to the natural base. Some good damage done there. Coldfront going up into a hive very early on. Also getting down the macro hatchery and attempting to take the third of the other side with a few Lurkers to defend that. Still a very tactical game. All the movements these players are making are very planned. A drop now, hitting into the main base. As you can see, that dropship, no healing potential, but a medic in with the drop, getting some nice damage down. The Queen is going to enrage. There's a couple of Scourge there, which are going to be able to take down that dropship fairly quickly. That means this drop is now all in. And of course, with that damage coming out, a couple of drones get taken down nice and fast. 9 workers killed in total so far. The Lurker's going to be able to clean up the drop. No scan being used and just the medic left there. Third base now up and running for both players, landing at the same time. And other than that, there isn't really too much else to talk about for now. Upgrades sitting at 1-0 for the Terran player, soon to be, or just starting 2-0. Meanwhile, over on the Zerg side, it's +1 carapace with no attack as of yet. Other than that, not seeing too much else coming down for the moment. Just a very, very normal game in terms of everything happening. And in terms of resources lost, fairly equal still. So we've got to keep a good eye on where these Lurkers are going to be going. And if they get in a good position and catch the Terran player off guard, it would be challenging. But with the Science Vessel there, should get detected, but it's going to be a bit late. The Lurker's already getting huge amounts of damage, and that was the play the Cold Front was looking for. Takes a huge amount of damage down. Ouch, indeed. AniQe agrees. And while there is a siege tank there, it gets taken down very quickly by the Lurkers. Good control coming down from Cold Front and just catching his Terran opponent off guard. So, where do you go from here after you've just lost your entire push to some Lurkers? The answer is very cautiously in the future. 2 Science Vessels now down, granting that mobile detection. Other than that, no Irradiate has been researched for the moment, so they've only got the Nerve Jammer, which reduces damage by anything on the ground by 75% or 50% if burrowed, so a bit less for Lurkers. Otherwise, a couple of Lynx is coming in for a nice little counter-attack to the third base, getting a decent number of kills yet again. And we saw this last game, Cold Front was able to get a huge amount of damage done with a few hero Zerglings. Otherwise, Lurkers still coming through. Just going to try and find anything else that is in there. Trying to catch this Terran army off guard whenever possible. It's the Defilers, though, that are going to be super helpful, especially once Consume is done. Because Consume allows them to kill 20 units in order to get out more. Those Lurkers getting some massive kills all of a sudden on those SCVs. We're going to be able to take out a good number of them. We do have a push forward now. A couple of Lurkers trying to scurry away, get back to safety. These two likely to die, but regardless, they've got some good damage down. That SCV going to die very fast. But yeah, the Defilers, why are they so critical? Defiler is essential because what it's going to mean is that you can straight away get some consumes down to get that energy up, and then you've got Dark Swarm. Dark Swarm reduces range damage taken in an area to 0. So you chuck it down, say these tanks were sieged up, you chuck it down here, move your army forward, and the tanks would start shelling away, but they would do no damage. All in all, this is looking fairly cool. Nothing terrible for either side, and it's still a very close game. It could go either way. We've still got an Overseer sitting there just keeping a good little vision on. These 2 Lurkers stopping mining from the third consistently. A couple more Lurkers up here, but a decent number of Science Vessels. There we see the Dark Swarm being used, preventing damage taken from these Lurkers. The tanks having to unsiege very quickly. Scourge trying to move in to take out those Science Vessels, but unable to do so. Defiler chaining those Dark Swarms down, just stopping the Lurkers from taking any damage as of yet. But everything else moved out of range all the time. A couple of the units coming from the back. Defilers coming in too, chucking down a lot of Dark Clouds, stopping those Zerglings taking any damage from those ranged units, forcing the Marines into range of those Lurkers. There's no Dark Swarm on them though, and so detection doing a lot. And a couple of Nerve Jammers are going to be trying to stop the ground units from doing too much damage, but AniQe, Kiji's out. Well played, as he loses everything, and with no third base for mining, means that the finals go to Cold Front 2-0.